Hey everybody, how's it going? Pancheezey here coming at you real quick with an episode recap of Dragon Ball Super episode 57. If you're wondering where all the other episode recaps are, you're thinking, whoa, what the heck? You're already episode 57. Where are the other 56 episode recaps? There are none. This is the first video in what could possibly be a weekly video series, just recapping Dragon Ball, what I thought about it, what I think some of these themes are, and just really kind of cherry picking very important things and things that are cool and callback scenes of of the current episode and stuff like that. I want to go and give a shout out to members of the ACBA podcast. They went ahead and they encouraged me to go ahead and do this video. And if you guys enjoy some of the things I'm talking about in this video, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below, because almost exclusively based off of your reaction to this episode, that will directly influence my need and want to do more. So let's just go ahead and talk about the overall episode. The episode was dope. First of all, let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. The episode was great, not only in terms of information we found out. I have 3 pages full of bullet points of information we found out. Sorry, 4 pages of bullet points of cool information I wanted to point out. This is my second time recording this video. The first one was kind of like an episode recap, and I don't want it to be that. I just want to go and cherry pick some cool stuff that happened. But not only was the episode like full of really dope, fight scenes and important things pertaining to what is happening in this arc, but the animation was on another level. Let me go ahead and get that out of the way. I thought the animation was great in the first encounter of Goku and Black a couple of episodes ago. But this was great. It was incredible. It still had the same style of Dragon Ball Z, but it was just as smooth as some of the animation in the original Dragon Ball. A really good meld and mixture of those two styles. And not only that, but it's more modern. It's a modern type of anime type of fight scene. Like the way they are able to animate, movement and speed, it's unbelievable. It's really cool to see, Dragon Ball in general just animated in this style. Like the way that the fight scenes were upgraded from when we saw it like way back in the day, like in the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that. And then when we saw how it looked in Battle of Gods, that type of jump in animation and stuff like that was incredible. And we saw a little bit of that in today's episode. Just the way that they were just like moving and zipping around the place, the way they animated the movement of Goku dodging all those Kai blasts and stuff. It was phenomenal. It was really, really great. Not only that, but it was really cool to see them go ahead and fighting in a cityscape again. I thought that was really cool. Far too often in Dragon Ball, they're always fighting in like some sort of desolated desert or some plateaus or rocky plains or whatever, some planet crumbling. But it was really cool to go ahead and see them fighting in a cityscape again, which coincidentally the last time they did stuff like this, or the only time they ever do stuff like this, is whenever they're fighting androids, or whenever it's involving like future Trunks, which happens to involve androids. And I just think it's a really nice change of pace and a really cool change of scenery to go ahead and see that stuff. So a lot of dope stuff happened in this episode. Some stuff I want to go ahead and bullet point real quick. So like I said, a lot of really cool stuff happened in this episode, a lot of really good fights and a lot of really good world building and stuff like that. And I just want to go ahead and bullet point just a couple of things. First of all, we learned that Zamasu and Black are not the same person, contrary to what almost literally everybody believed. So it's really cool to see that they are not the same person. It really, now the mystery is who is Black. If Black is not Zamasu in any way, shape, or form, then who is he? What's going on? Speaking of that, there's a couple of things I want to talk about Black in this episode. So right off the bat, Zamasu claims that he and Black are actually kindred spirits. They share the same ideology, they feel the same way about humans, and they want to eradicate humans just as bad as each other. So this kind of feeds into the theory that while it's pretty much widely accepted, this almost solidifies that this is not Black's original body. Obviously, I mean, the body that he has now is very clearly Goku's. Now, how he was able to obtain that body is a mystery on itself. But if this was Black's original body, if he was born to look like Goku or something like that, if he was some other universe's version of Goku, by that fact alone, Zamasu would immediately hate him and want to destroy him. But I think because of that line, it almost solidifies that we're kind of seeing a type of body snatching version, I guess, or body snatching situation where whatever or whoever Black is, he is not what he is now. He started as something, and then by however means necessary, he got his hands on Goku's body. And this is backed by something else interesting that happened in the episode. So earlier in the series, where you see Goku and Zamasu and Goku and Black fighting, Black only powers up and gets serious as Goku gets serious. Now you could just go ahead and, just chalk that up to them just ramping the fight up, one after another. Goku, shows a little bit more of his cards, then, Black shows a little bit more of his cards and stuff like that. But what I think, and I could be wrong, what I think is happening here is that somehow, theoretically, let's just go ahead and, hypothetically, whoever Black is got his hands on Goku's body. But just like when Captain Ginyu got his hands on Goku's body, they don't know how to use it. Black doesn't know how to use Goku's body. He doesn't know, the limitations of this. He doesn't know how strong Goku can get. And it's only when seeing Goku perform techniques and seeing, Goku, break, become more powerful that Black is able to mimic this and become more powerful. And a really cool example of this is in the episode, Goku and Black are fighting, and they're trading blows. All of a sudden, Black is gonna, about to cream Goku with this huge blow, and then Goku uses the instant transmission technique and, zips away. And for a split second, you see that Black is surprised. He is taken aback. The look on his face is like shock of what he just saw. And then almost immediately, he goes ahead and uses instant transmission right back. He returns the favor and uses instant transmission. And Goku, even at that point, is like, "Yo, you can use instant transmission. That's unbelievable." Now, the reason I think this whole he can't use powers until he sees Goku use powers is because if he was able to use the instant transmission technique this whole time, he would have used it. He would have used it to go ahead and intercept the time machine in a previous episode. He would have used it to go ahead and get closer to Goku or Trunks or Vegeta or whoever he was fighting at any point of that fight. But I think it's very interesting to note that he only used the instant transmission only after he saw Goku use it. And that kind of ties into what I was thinking, where, he somehow is not, that's not his original body. Like I said, that's just a theory that I have. It's very loose at this moment, and nothing's set in stone at the moment, obviously, ladies and gentlemen. But it's kind of hard to ignore that these pieces are kind of sticking together. But another cool thing, talking about Black, is when in this episode Trunks pierces Zamasu with a sword, and then Black is like bugging out whenever that happens. He sees Zamasu get pierced by that sword, and he's like, "Yo, what is going on, man? Don't you dare! How dare you pierce him with that sword?" He kind of takes it personal, which is very interesting. It kind of suggests that maybe they're not just partners in crime. Maybe there is something there for him to feel that type of emotion, and seeing Zamasu getting pierced with a sword and talking about Zamasu getting pierced with a sword, that is a bomb in this episode. Zamasu drops a bomb after Trunks pierces him with a sword, pulls it out. He starts healing himself. What's going on? Zamasu goes ahead and discloses that he is immortal, and that is something really, really interesting that I want to go ahead and talk about. And the act of a villain in Dragon Ball being immortal has always been something that's been loomed. That's kind of been like a shadowy, looming type of possibility in Dragon Ball. Villains like Vegeta and Frieza have stated that is their mission. They want to grab Dragon Ball so they can become immortal. And it's always been up to Goku and his friends and stuff like that to go ahead and intercept these plans and stop them from happening. But now that's not the what if. That is the is. This is what's happening right now. Goku is not trying to stop Zamasu from becoming immortal. Zamasu is already immortal. So that is a very, very interesting twist to see what's going to happen. So, canonically, we've never seen, an immortal enemy before. Obviously there's Garlic Jr. and stuff like that. But that happened in a movie, and then, it happened in a filler arc and stuff like that. So we've never seen a villain achieve immortality, and I think that's going to open up a lot of doors. I would like to think they're not going to go ahead and do the dead zone thing again. I just feel like we're going to see something new. We're going to see a way to go ahead and deal with, the fact that this guy can't die, pretty much. And speaking of bombs being dropped in this episode, Trunks goes ahead and uses the freaking Final Flash. What is going on? Unbelievable. When he dropped that Final Flash, he put those arms in his side, and then that Final Flash popped up. I couldn't believe it. My jaw dropped to the floor. I think it's really dope, the stuff they're doing with future Trunks in Dragon Ball Super. It's unbelievable. A couple episodes back, he used the Masenko Ha. That's unreal. We've always seen, it's so cool to see Trunks. There's a lot of backstory there. Just in him using these two techniques, it says so much about his character. These two techniques are being used by the two most important father figures in his life. Using the Masenko Ha, obviously akin to Gohan, his only friend, his only mentor, his only father figure, his only master in his timeline, and to go ahead and don his special attack speaks volumes. And not only does he use a Masenko Ha, he uses the Final Flash in this episode, to use his father's technique. And then coupled with the fact that future Trunks doesn't have a good track record with Vegeta to begin with. If you remember back in the Cell Saga, it was his relationship with Vegeta was nothing in the Cell Saga. So for him to take the time to go ahead and learn the Final Flash, that says a lot about his character. Now, whether it be for him to prove a point that he can learn his father's, bread and butter technique and stuff like that, that's up in the air. That's to be determined. But I think it was really cool that he went ahead and used the Final Flash. Now, unfortunately, it didn't do much. Zamasu is immortal, so that was kind of wasted. But it was really dope nonetheless to go ahead and see him use it. It was really cool. So after Trunks uses that technique, Zamasu brings up a really good question. Zamasu says, what will you do? Why are you even here? Why are you even fighting me? What is the point? What will you do to fight me? I am immortal. Nothing you can do will hurt me. And, it brings up a good point. Like I said earlier, we haven't seen anybody in the Dragon Ball, universe deal with immortality canonically. So it's very interesting. I'm asking the same question too, Zamasu. What are they going to do? What are you going to do, man? I don't know. Jeez. I'm curious too. Let me know. So another cool thing I want to talk about in this episode is a kind of a callback. Let's talk about some of the callbacks in this episode. So we see earlier on that while Trunks and Black are fighting, Trunks uses his sword against Black's Kai blade attack, and I think that's very cool because I don't know if it's intentional or not, but as soon as I got that, I got major Trunks versus Goku vibes. The first time Trunks saw Goku and wanted to test his powers, he obviously used, if you remember correctly, he used his sword, and all Goku had to use was his finger enveloped in, his Super Saiyan aura. And I just thought that was major vibes. Obviously, he's fighting a dude that looks just like Goku. You can't think back to that sign. I think that's pretty cool. Another cool thing involving Black is at one point Black and Zamasu do this double Kai attack. That thing had Jason Birder Super Purple Comet Attack written all over it. As soon as I saw it pop up on screen, I said, yo, they're back. They might not be on screen, but in spirit, Jason Birder are there doing their Purple Comet Attack. I thought that was really cool. Obviously, it's probably not intentional, but yo, it looked cool. So speaking of that technique, he goes and fires off the technique, but in the middle of that, Vegeta, who has been unconscious the entire episode, goes and wakes up, achieves Super Saiyan Blue, and, uses the last bit of his energy to knock that away. So during all this whole mix-up and everything, Goku and Trunks and Vegeta, they all get away, they rendezvous. Yajirobe saves, Goku and Trunks, and then Mai saves Vegeta. They rendezvous, and then Mai puts them in the time machine and sends them back into time. And what happens next is a pretty emotional scene. It's pretty important. So everybody's unconscious in the cockpit. It looks like Mai's about to go back with them, but she jumps out. Trunks wakes up, and then he starts begging her. He's literally begging Mai to come back. He's saying, like, you can really feel it in his voice that he's like, you have to come back with me. Don't stay here. Don't leave me alone. I can't lose you again. You have to come with me. Please don't leave me. And I'm telling you, man, that's some emotional shit. And Mai's rebuttal to all this is she goes ahead and she says this callback to the beginning of the arc for when Trunks goes back first. She says, and she reiterates that I can't go back. It's you. It's always been you, and it's always going to be you. It's always you, Trunks, that has to survive. You have to live. If everyone else on this planet dies, if every human on this planet dies, if only you were to live, that makes it all worth it, because you are the one that has to survive. And I think that's very powerful stuff happening. It was mentioned earlier on the episode. Bulma says it. Bulma's like dying words is you have to survive. And Mai's presumably dying words when Trunks thought that she was dead was that it's you that has to survive. And then once again, when she's sending him back into time, she says that it's you that has to survive. So I think some really heavy vibes that are being put upon Trunks in this arc, and I think it's really cool. It's just very nice, a very cool tone to see Dragon Ball Super in this type of light. So, they travel back to the past. We're done with the future stuff for the time being. And then we start to see the seeds being planted at the very end of the episode as to how Zamasu gets immortality, why he hates Goku, and all that stuff. So you see him at the end of the episode. This is one of the best parts of the entire episode. You see him watching Goku on the TV back on his planet fighting Hit. And at this point, he's already fought Goku once and stuff like that. Goku bested him. He's humiliated that a human bested him at a sparring thing or whatever. And not only is he goes like, yeah, that's Goku, man. Forget this guy. He sees Goku. In his eyes, he sees Goku, just a mere human, achieve Super Saiyan Blue, which obviously is a form of Super Saiyan God. He sees this puny, disgusting, filthy, trash human achieve this regal, reserved, just a power that is not meant for him. You gotta understand, Zamasu is the type of person, he is a complete elitist. He doesn't think that humans deserve more or less, much less anything. He thinks humans are just eventually going to kill themselves, so why not just do the job for them? And to see Goku, a man that not only humiliated him and bested him, in a fight, not only to see Goku just become powerful, just like that, but to become powerful through the means of achieving, God aura, it infuriates him. And you see that hatred on his face. You see that painted all over his face. You can see that disgust and that hatred and that vileness just like building inside of him. And then at the very end of all this, he sees the Super Dragon Balls and he asks his master, what are those? And then his master tells him it's rumored that those are Super Dragon Balls and they can grant anybody any wish. And at the very end of the episode, you see him break into the palace of that dude. I forgot what his name is. But he breaks into the palace of the guy who knows all the information about the Super Dragon Balls. So that was the end of the episode. Yo, let me tell you, this episode was unreal. A lot of really dope stuff happened. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't even get a chance to go over. You know, smaller stuff, but I feel like I went ahead and went through the bullet points. You know, week after week, you know, man, they are world building. They are really making up for the fact that they have been on hiatus for 17 years, because every episode, if you're able to read between the lines, is chocked full of world building, character development, and stuff like that. You know, they're hitting it out of the park with almost every single episode, and I am mad stoked. It is such a great time to be a Dragon Ball fan. It's unbelievable. So, yo, like I said, if you guys liked what I was talking about in this video, if you guys want to go ahead and continue some of these discussions in the comment section below, go ahead and let me know. And just as importantly, if you want to hear more about this, if you're interested in my thoughts for next week's episode, go ahead and let me know, and I will go ahead and do that too. But for the time being, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, any questions, comments, or concerns can go in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on a daily basis, hit me up on Instagram. That's where I post every single day. And yo, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!